Today on the podcast, we're going to look at how to tag people properly to promote our social media posts. And of course, the reason why we're doing this is because by promoting social media posts the right way and getting more engagement, we put ourselves in a position where we might have more conversations that might lead to more opportunities for business relationships, sales, and profit. So again, today, how to tag people properly on social media so that you can get them to promote your social media posts. Now, if you're interested in these sorts of topics, how to get clients from social media, how to grow your sales, how to look for more customers, how to look for other ways of getting revenue to expand your business, then this is the podcast for you. So be sure to subscribe on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple, or any player of your choice. And if you would love to connect with me, I am your host, Tabishima Ayede. So you can call, send me a text message, or send me a WhatsApp message on 08064662140. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If you'd like to get the correct spelling of my name, just check the profile of whatever podcast player that you're listening to. Because I've noticed that recently lots of people have been finding me on LinkedIn, which I find surprising because I've been giving out my phone number a whole lot more. But anyway, you guys are reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and I can't complain. Unfortunately, that's the only social media I have, so don't bother looking for me on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, or on anything else. So today, how to tag people the right way so that it can promote your social media posts. Now, why are we looking at this today? Well, obviously, because as the growth of the podcast has been growing, and my profile, they increase small. I haven't arrived, in quote, yet, but I'm getting to that stage where people are beginning to tag me on a weekly basis on posts that I put up on social media. And, I understand the game. And this is the game. You tag somebody else when the person has a bigger audience, because you hope that with that bigger audience, if the person engages with the comment you have created, if the person likes, if the person reshares, if the person carries any form of engagement, then this is going to get some amplified reach for your own posts. And yes, it is a good strategy. So I am under no illusion that for those of you who tag me, I know exactly what's going on. I know the game. You're tagging me because I have a bigger audience. Okay, well, my audience is, let's say, is average right now, because on LinkedIn I think I have 3,000 something followers. So that's the scope. You have 20, 30, maybe 300 followers. You tag a bunch of people who have 3,000 followers. If those people like, if they reshare, if they engage, if they comment, then your post is going to get amplified reach. You're going to see new audiences. And this is a good strategy. I repeat, it is a very good strategy. And I endorse it. As many of you who can, you should be using this strategy. But remember, we're here to talk about how to do it the right way, because it only works when it is done tastefully. Let me repeat. Tagging somebody else who has a bigger audience because you're trying to get amplified reach for when they like, when they reshare, when they comment, when they heart, when they support, when they upvote, when they do whatever. It's a good strategy, but it only works when it is done tastefully. And unfortunately, lots of you are doing it in poor taste. In fact, that's the reason why I'm making today's episode. You can say today's episode is a rant, because so many people are doing it in poor taste. Now, this is the problem. Some of you are running around tagging an influencer, in quote. By the way, I am not calling myself an influencer because I'm not. Technically speaking, an influencer is properly so called because influencers get people to take action. So, excuse me. Let me repeat again. Sorry, excuse me. Recovering from a cold because it's Hamatan over here. And then my kids also had a cold as well. And then the baby had a sore throat. And you know how it is now. When one child brings it into the house, everybody now has that issue. Okay, so where was I? So I was saying basically that when you tag an influencer, and by the way, I'm not an influencer, and influencer marketing is a good thing. But the thing is, some of you get confused by the sizes of people's audience. So influencer marketing doesn't mean you reach out to somebody who has 3,000 followers, 9,000 followers, 15,000 followers, 20,000 followers. It's not about the follower count, because you have major influencers and you also have macro and macro and so you have macro and micro influencers. Yeah. So macro influencers, major influencers, big influencers, probably people like the Kardashians, and then micro influencers, maybe someone closer to my own end, maybe 3,000 followers, 1,000 followers, that kind of thing. But the key distinction when you're looking at influencers is not the size of the audience. All right? An influencer is an influencer because they cause people to take action. Influencers are people who move markets. Influencers are people who, when they speak, people take action. So that's the reason why you can say Donald Trump is an influencer, or that's the reason why you can say Kim Kardashian is an influencer, because they talk and people take action. It's in the title, influencer. They exact some sort of influence. So for those of you who are thinking of an influencer strategy, and maybe that's the reason why you're targeting me or reaching out to me, you're too soon. I'm not there yet. I'm not at the level yet where I speak and then people move. So I'm not at that level yet where I move product, or I move masses, or I move motions, or I move people's opinions. So if you want to try an influencer marketing strategy, that is key. You pay attention not to the size of the audience, but to whether these people can move markets, can move opinions, can shape opinions, can shape the trajectory of campaigns, of agendas, of things like that. That is what you pay attention to. So if you find someone who only has 500 followers, but every single that person talks, when they tweet, when they put out something, markets move, then that person is an influencer. But of course, a micro influencer, because the guy's audience or the babe's audience, it is small. So it's not the size of the audience, but whether they exercise any influence. So that's the reason why people pay Kim Kardashian the big bucks and the other people in the Kardashian family. Because if you get them to, like Taylor Swift, for instance, there's, I think this thing with her boyfriend where that game where her boyfriend proposed to her, they said that dress that she wore, that within minutes, the thing is sold out. Now that's what we call influencer. She didn't even say buy the dress, so nothing. She just wore the dress, that's all. Just by wearing that dress, that's all. The thing is sold out. Now that's what we mean when we say influencer. So that's people you should be looking for. So those of you where they tag me, you think I'm an influencer, like you're wasting your time, because I never reach. I'm not there yet. I don't talk and then people move. So when that time comes, you can consider me for your influencer strategy. But until then. So where was I? So the problem is too many people are tagging influencers or tagging people with big audiences, but they're not doing it in a tasteful manner. And because they're not doing it in a tasteful manner, they are not getting any engagement. Not getting any engagement, well, first off, is a waste of your time and a waste of your effort. But apart from that, it hurts your post's reach. It actually is a bad thing when you are tagging people and the people don't engage and they don't do anything. It actually is hurting your reach on social media platforms. At least I've been able to confirm this dynamic when it comes to LinkedIn, and I suspect it's going to apply to other social media channels as well. I think I was able to confirm that from the LinkedIn Marketing Show? I can't remember the name of the podcast. It's a LinkedIn something anyway, and that's where I first heard about that idea. Now, apart from that, when you're tagging people who are influencers or you're tagging people with bigger audiences, and they're not taking action, they're not engaging, you come across as desperate. You come across as reaching. You come across as, how will I put it? You come across as obviously inferior status. And we have to try and do this in a nice way. Like we're trying to reach up so that our egbons, our senior brothers, our sugar bars, our, you know, big brothers and sisters in the trade, so they can give us small uplift. But if we're coming at this and then, we begin to look like beggar, it's somehow. So we guys do this in a very tasteful manner. Now, when I say it's not done tastefully, what do I mean? First of all, people just do this thing random. Like today, I just received one random tag. Open my LinkedIn, about to schedule my content. Next thing, I saw, so and so responded, liked in the comment that they tagged you. I opened the thing and I read the thing. And throughout the whole post, there was not one single mention of me. How I inspired the guy, or how the guy was interacting with my ideas, or like the thing had nothing to do with me. At the end, the guy just just tagged a number of people, just tagged them like that. Random. No reason why. Now, I engaged with the guy because, I wrote a comment. I said, "Oh, thank you very much for tagging me. I think this post is really insightful." But then I asked the guy, because I'm also, how do I put it? I'm not going to be an idiot about it, but I'm also trying to pass across a message. So I asked the guy up on the post, like, how come you tagged me in this? You're not interacting with any of my ideas. I didn't inspire anything here, and you clearly didn't reference any interaction that you and I have had in the past. So how come you tagged me in this post? Now, it turns out that the reason why the guy made the post was because he was inspired by something that I said on the podcast. But, if he had said that in the body of the post, and that was the point at which he tagged me, then I would know, and other people who are reading the post would see that, oh, there's an organic reason why he tagged this guy. But you put up a post and you just tag people random. You just throw in like 8, 9 people, just tag. You just add them. Comes across as random. It doesn't seem tastefully done. And for some people, big boys and big girls in the space, there's some people who get offended by that actually and get seriously insulted. In fact, I can remember when back in the day when Facebook was new, I remember this guy, Nato C. A lot of you won't know Nato C because he's been out of the game for a very long time. But Nato C was this rapper back in the day. I think he was with Storm record label. Storm record label used to be Obi Ashika. Because I think right now Ashika he's like commissioner for culture or something like that is he in Nugu State or something? Like he's a big boy now, government kind of something. And then he also flows in Nigerians in Diaspora, NIDO, Nigerian in Diaspora organization, all of that. So, big boy. So, but back in the day, Obi Ashika had this music label called Storm Records. I think Tribesmen were on Storm Records, who again. Anyway, so this guy, Nato C, was there. So Nato C had this song, Kini Big Deal, Shebi, we're on fire. We're on fire, Shebi, we're on fire. Kini Big Deal. So, and then numbered as in some correct songs like that. I know some of you will say like, man, that thing is lame. But look, put it in context. We were just coming out of military era. Obasanjo became president. Nigeria done they open up small. So, for those of us who are young youth by then, like we were experiencing a new vibrant phase. The world was opening up. Like we are seeing new things. We don't see GSM. We don't press computer. Things like that. So, so you might hear the song now and say, man, that's lame. But back then, that song was the ish. Was the correct song. Good vibes. So, Facebook was new now, and people used to tag Nato C anyhow. So one day, Nato C changed his name. Instead of it to be Nato C, he changed his name to Nato Stop Tagging Me Unnecessarily C. That was his name on Facebook. So that the moment you want to tag him and you just do @ and then you type in NAETO, you see it there, stop tagging me unnecessarily. Anyway, I don't know his Facebook handle now, but besides, I think he has gone into business now. He's no longer a musician, so I don't even know his social media handle. But the point I'm just trying to make is that some guys, they vex when you do that. So there's some people that you tag them, they look and they see that this thing is random. And what they'll do is they'll now untag themselves. And that's where the problem will start. When they untag themselves, the LinkedIn algorithm the Instagram algorithm, the whatever algorithm, is beginning to take note. They will see that this person that is creating this post, in just they tag people anyhow, no rhyme, no reason, and because of that, it will begin to hamper your reach. Because remember, these social media platforms, these algorithms are trying to put out content, push content, give it more reach that seems valuable to people so that people stay on the platform. So if it looks like your content is, nkanka madu kind of content, like rubbish kind of content, they'll begin to tap you down, reduce your reach. So all this random tagging, no, they do them. Because think about it. You write a post, random tagging. You just tag 10 people because, them be influencer. They get big following. So you tag 10 people. And let's say within 24 hours, 9 of them remove themselves. What signal do you think that is sending to the LinkedIn algorithm or to the Instagram algorithm? Because back when I was an algorithm, not only could you remove yourself, you could even tell Instagram that this guy, block him, may not tag me again. That is sending a very strong signal to the algorithm. See, business is hard. We should not be doing things that make our job any harder. All this random tagging that you guys are doing, they pay. It doesn't. So, number one, random tagging. That's when you don't do it tastefully. Number two, plenty tagging. That's when you're not doing it tastefully. You write one post, you tag 10 people. How? How did 10 people influence or inspire what it is that you put in that post? If you want to tag somebody, but you had a meaningful interaction. So let's say, for instance, now, you want to tag, who I go use now? Let's say you want to tag Don Jazzy. Maybe, how will I put it? You saw Don Jazzy at the party, you guys had a brief conversation, and from that convo, you were inspired. You now go and put the post up there, Mention it, at him there, People see that this thing is organic. But then, because it's from a conversation that you had with him and him alone, you tag only him. Full stop. It doesn't look not tastefully done. And besides, it increases the chances that even if he sees it, maybe he might remember, maybe he might engage. But definitely, if Don Jazzy, you tag him in a post, he goes to check the post and he sees that you tagged 15 other people. Burna Boy, you tag him. Who again? Davido, you tag him. You tag everybody. You think he's going to respond to that kind of thing? Now, he's not the mean guy, so he's not going to untag himself, I think. But anyway, let's be doing this thing tastefully. So don't keep it random. And then don't be tagging people plenty. Then, remember, this is the game plan. When we tag people with bigger audiences, we're hoping to get amplified reach. We're hoping that the person will like, that the person will reshare, that the person will engage in some way. So, can you put some sort of call to action there for the person? So, in that kind of thing, if you salute Don Jazzy, you shout him out, and because he's a nice guy, you say, Baba, I beg, help your boy reshare this thing. Some kind of call to action. Now, because Don Jazzy is a nice guy, he might laugh and then reshare. Or he might laugh and then like. That is what you're looking for. That he will reshare, or that he will like, or that he will comment. That is what will amplify this post and give it bigger reach. Because when he likes, when he shares, when he comments, then the millions of people who follow Don Jazzy will also get to see your own post that he interacted with. So remember, that's the game plan. It's not just to tag somebody for tagging sake. We're trying to tag this person so that they will like, they will reshare, they will engage, they will comment, they will do something. So, how about putting at least one question there? So, like for those of you who have been tagging me, it would be nice. Put a question there. How about you tag me and then you say, what are your perspectives about this? Or do you happen to agree with this? Or how does this accord with your business philosophy? Or how does this blend with this particular philosophy you discussed on the podcast? Something. It's an invitation to do something. Because if you have 5 followers or 500 followers, and then you tag me because I have 3,000 and you're hoping for amplified reach, the goal is to actually have me like the post, reshare the post, or comment on the post so that my other 3,000 followers will get to see the post that I engage with. Ask a question. Ask a question in the post. Invite the person to do something. Then, another way that people are tagging people in posts and it's not tastefully done. Okay, I already hinted at it. That's why I say the person that you're tagging didn't contribute to the post in any way or didn't inspire the post in any way. So people can just see that, man, that's just some random tagging. And you can see that this is where it starts getting tacky and seeming desperate. So even your audiences who you are trying to impress, they'll begin to see that, man, this guy just they reach. Like this babe, they reach anyhow. Like she's grasping at straws. He's just grasping any which way. Shy, he wants to attract anybody, somebody. The thing now starts to look tacky. So let's try and be classy about this. Let's try and be graceful about this. So, where was I? Anyway, back to what I said in the beginning. When you don't do this thing tastefully, there will be no engagement, and it will not profit you. By the way, if you're thinking of tagging someone, why not try tagging people who already have a history of liking, already have a history of sharing, already have a history of commenting? Because if you tag people and then they see it, they don't like it, they don't share it, they don't retweet it, they don't leave a comment, they don't do anything, then remember, it's going to hurt the reach of the content that you put out. So it's a problem. Some of you don't know, but actually it's a problem for you to tag several influencers and then all of them ignore you. You tag 10 people, all 10 people ignore you. Okay, the first time, no problem. But you do that 10 times in a row, the algorithm is watching. The algorithm never sleeps. They will see that, okay, over the last 10 posts, you have tagged 10 people on average. So far, that's over 100 people. And so far, over 100 people that you've tagged have ignored you. It's not a good sign. The algorithm is going to read it that this is not valuable content. And because of that, excuse me, it's going to curb your reach. It's going to hinder your reach. So, the solution, which I've already started exploring some of them, is first of all, tag people who you think might reply. Like I said, Don Jazzy seems to be a nice guy, but I won't call some names. You know that there are some other musicians, music execs, if you're in the music field, there are some of them that you know that if you tag them, they will insult your life and then they'll block you. Some people will say any form of engagement is good engagement. Well, in a technical sense, I guess it is, but I don't think. And a bit, basically, what I'm just trying to say is there are some people that seem to be nice guys. Yeah. Tag those kind of people. Tag them. Like me, I know the level of the game. And, I appreciate helping folks out. So, me, I don't mind. As long as the thing makes sense. So, you want to tag me in your Instagram post. Sorry, not Instagram, your LinkedIn post. Yeah, go ahead, tag. Because I respond to everyone and I try to make sure that everybody who comes across my way gets value. But before you start tagging people, I would recommend that you build relationships with people. Because some people ask me that, you've been sharing this guy's post a lot, or you've been sharing this girl's post a lot. How come? And I say, oh, now my guy. Or, oh, she's cool. This is where we interacted from, blah, 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 blah. Because I have built relationships with those people. Or rather, those people have built relationships with me. And so because of that, whenever I see something, their post, their event, their online session, their course, their whatever, I'll reshare. I'll shout them out because we don't they relate. There's a relationship on ground. So actually take time to build relationships with influencers or people with bigger audiences. By the way, remember, I said I am not an influencer because influencers are people who inspire action in others. So far, I do not inspire action yet. I have not started moving markets yet. I don't sell out anything yet. So don't include me as part of your influencer strategy. But yeah, you tag me, the thing makes sense. I'll respond. I will comment. I will reshare. Then, flattery goes a long way. I'm not saying you guys should flatter me, but flattery goes a long way. We're human beings. If somebody's minding their business, they're having a rough day, they see that you tag them in the post, they open it, and they say, so is the best thing since sliced bread. I saw the person on stage here, or I listened to the person's comment here, or I saw the person on the podcast there, or I ran into the person live at so event. The person said this, the person said this is how the thing has changed my life. Glowing comments like that. Who doesn't like to see that kind of thing? Naija we dey now. Of course. Somebody will see that thing and smile and then reshare so that other people in the audience will see that me too, I be benefactor, that, like I am enriching people's lives. Flattery goes a long way. You don't have to use a sweet mouth. Just talking honestly about simple things that the person has inspired. This thing goes a long way. But then look realistically as well, because there's some people, honestly speaking, who are busy. Like this lady, what's her name? I can't remember, but the podcast is called Afropolitan. Yeah, it's a husband and wife thing. I can't remember. This Igbo girl, she married one Idoma guy. Then, oh, by the way, I was happy to see that, to know that they're husband and wife, because for a while I've been thinking about how I'll involve my wife on this podcast, because since she's into securities, there's lots of stuff about investing, finance matters, stuff like that, that would be nice for her to come and lend her own perspective on, because it helps. I only talk about sales because that's all I know. But then there's some other things that are finance related that it will be good for other people to hear as well. But then I was thinking about it, but she's my wife now. It will be somehow husband and wife on the same podcast. Like, no, it could do somehow. So when I saw the Afropolitan podcast and I saw that two of them are husband and wife, I said, okay, no problem now. And myself, my wife can show from time to time. So, anyway, wifey is not around at the moment. So when she gets back, I'll mention it to her. I'll say, hey, babe, what's up? What are you thinking? I want us to do a few episodes together. What do you think? So where was I? So I was just trying to say that some people are busy. Now the Afropolitan podcast is huge, is big. I think the last episode that I saw, the last two episodes I saw, one of them they interviewed Vuzi Tembayo, Abi Tembawayo, or what's his name, and then they also interviewed this Yoruba actor David Oyelowo, David Oyelowo, Nigerian actor. But of course, acted in Hollywood movies and acted in British movies. So, those are the caliber of people that they interview on that podcast. And, that podcast, man, the podcast, you get reach. You get serious reach. So, every single time they release a new episode and the babe is promoting it or the husband is promoting it, one post, they'll get like 1,000 reshares. Like 2,000, 3,000 comments, that kind of thing. Now, somebody like that, she's busy. And her husband, he's busy. Because, man, it's not easy. If 1,000 people respond, to go through and say you respond to 1,000 comments, like, man, that'll be hard. So just be real. If you're targeting that kind of person, the chances that she will see and like and engage and reshare, the chances are low. Because, that's a whole lot of engagement. So, yeah. Just know. In fact, when it comes to this strategy, I know that people want to aim big, but for me, I'll say aim small. Let me explain. Okay, let's like now, somebody like me, I have 3,000 followers. To try this strategy now, I go to tag people we get like maybe 300,000 followers because I aim big. Now, somebody who has 300,000 followers, imagine the kind of engagement they will get on their own post. So before they see my own tag and then respond, chances are low. So the thing is, aim small. So somebody like me now, we get 3,000 followers, and I want to try this tagging strategy. And maybe I'll go to tag people we get like, maybe 4,000 followers, 5,000 followers. You understand? Because that kind of person, is bigger than me, but the gap not too. You understand? It's not too big. And then it's also the kind of thing that the person can see and notice and then engage because the gap not too big. So, yeah, let me put it that way. Aim smaller. Let me put it that way. Aim smaller. So those of you who try tagging Gary Vaynerchuk, you try tagging who else? Kim Kardashian, you try tagging, whoever. I just bring it down. I'm sure there's some other influencers, some other content creators, there's some other people with bigger audiences who are much more closer to your level and much more likely to see and engage with the stuff that you're doing when you tag them in content. So, where else? What else? I also said when you're tagging people, please tag with a question. If you tag with a question, the chances are that you prompt a response from a couple of people. Then, another mistake that people make, please be resharing influencer content from time to time. That's one way that you get noticed. So, let's say you have 1,000 followers and there's somebody who has 2,000, 3,000 followers. Every single time the person posts something, you reshare. By the time you don't do them like 20, 30 times, the person, like you're now on the person's radar. They will see that, they will cite you like, okay, that guy, that girl, every single time I do something, they support, they heart, they retweet, they reshare, they whatever. So that when the time comes and you do your own, you now tag the person. Some chances that the person also will, what I think they say, karma, and one good turn deserves another. So you increase your chances of getting positive responses over time. Anyway, so these are some of the ways that we can cure that problem. But the summary of what I'm trying to say basically is before you tag someone, try to have some sort of a relationship before you tag the person. You now increase the chances that the person is going to like, the person is going to reshare, the person is going to support, the person is going to retweet, the person is going to comment, the person is going to whatever. Just try and build a relationship before you tag the person. And seriously, consider aiming small when it comes to these things. So if you have 5,000 followers, take it easy. Don't want to be tagging people who have 500,000 followers. The gap is much. You're like an ant. You're like a cockroach. Not going to see you. Okay, sorry, that's harsh, but you get the point. So you have 5,000 followers. Yeah, maybe be tagging those people who have 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. We're trying to put the odds in our favor. But please remember this when you sign off with this, because lots of people get it twisted. The purpose of doing all these kinds of tactics on social media is we are trying to gain access to new audiences. Because sometimes I look at this thing and I'm like, this person is just doing it for numbers' sake. Because the post that they write and the tagging that they do, like no correlation. So it's just for numbers' sake. That's the reason why, for instance, you will not see me tag Don Jazzy. Because Don Jazzy, music, industry, that sort of thing, me, sales. Like, what's the correlation? There's no point in me playing this kind of moves and tagging John Jazzy if me doing that would not expose me in a meaningful way to his audiences. Because no connect, no correlation. So the goal is new audiences, meaningful audiences. The hope is that some people will see them, they will like you and they will follow you. They will enter into your own domain. So it's new audiences. It's just not about numbers. It's not just the numbers. Then also remember that we're hoping for new audiences. We're hoping for more engagement because ultimately we're hoping that this will lead to more business, more people sliding into our DM to say, what's up? How far? Are you available? How much? Do you deliver to Ibadan? Do you deliver to Sokoto? Do you do it in green? Do you do it in black? Do you do it in purple? Do you have 50 kilowatts? Do you have 10 megawatts? We want people to start engaging, having conversations with us, because we hope it will lead to more business. So the reason why I'm saying this is, please just remember, it is not about the emotional satisfaction of having large social media followings. There's no point in amassing numbers and amassing following for the sake of following. It is something I learned as a wedding photographer. There were some people that I used to look up to. One guy in particular, this guy had mad following. I mean, at my level at the time, it was mad following. He had like 2,000 followers or something. And of course, I hooked up with the guy. And, we started having one-on-one conversation. Then the guy began to ask me for business advice because things were not smooth. And I'm wondering, how come? That on a social media level, the guy is looking like a bigger bros. 2,000 something followers, blah, 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 blah. You now come and ask me on social media, small boy, now asking me for advice. So me, when no get following, my business is doing better than you that you have following. Like who will help? Who? What does it profit you to have following of 2,000 people on social media and then barely get money get? Like the money is not moving. What does that 2,000 following profit you? Then meanwhile, somebody that has 500 followers, that was me back in the day, at least I did chop small, fuel, I put it in my car, school fees, NEPA, at least I was keeping up. It's not about the numbers. Believe me, I've seen it. It doesn't profit you to have 2,000 followers. Meanwhile, your bank is empty. Anytime, any day, I'd rather take somebody who has no social media following at all or small social media following, but meanwhile, business traction is on ground. Now, to have large social media following and then bank account, zero. So always remember, vanity, all these vanity metrics, I beg, don't follow them and be playing that game. That's not the reason why we're hanging out on social media. We hang out on social media because we're thinking of money at the end of the day. Money. So it's not the following for following's sake. So that's it, and that's all for today. Thanks for your time and attention. Remember, if you would like to connect with me, you can call, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message in case you have questions, comments, queries, or collaborations. So you can call, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. So thanks for listening. I'll catch you some other time.